This was clearly not the plan, to be embarrassed, and I ain't living up to the standard that's apparent. No room for excuses, only improvements. But sit with me a moment before you jump to your conclusions on how we got here. We could start from the top, we could start with the sacks, we could start with the drops, we could start to the shots, to a target that's draped. Regardless, let me talk to what's really at stake, and that's legacy. Trying to fill the role of the one that stood ahead of me. Whole city want the one took after me instead of me, and rightfully so, my homie like that. And let them tell it about me, I'ma be right back. Exchange my struggles for a rifle, that's a light pack. And I just smile and show humility despite that. Yeah, they think I'm soft, think I'm weak. My confidence is rooted in belief. They call me the one, I live to the hype. Now they tryna tell me that the choice isn't right. Tell me, did I lose it? Well, did I lose it? I gotta be myself, don't care what they say, cause I'm the only person that can stand in the way. Tell me, did I lose it? So did I lose it? Once there was a man on a journey, made some fatal mistakes in a hurry, sent away from all of his worries, like succeeding what many saw was Billy Graham in a jersey, to the abyss, until he reappeared proven worthy. That was me, so I know where you been. What kind of sort of the difference is that you think it, but I knew I was him. Knew I would smack the competition that blend. Knew I would change the Carolinas and the league before the laces would spin. And it wasn't easy. They brought me back after releases if they didn't need me. And then they got you, and respectfully, the whole thing just feel like a waste. A press release about a trade they tried to play in my face. 7 years in the desert with no chance of escape. And a fan base that sees it as an utter disgrace. Just be patient with them, they don't deserve it. But it's on you, you gotta earn it. They call me the one, I live to the hype. Now they tryna tell me that the choice isn't right. Tell me, did I lose it? Well, did I lose it? I gotta be myself, don't care what they say, cause I'm the only person that can stand in the way. Tell me, did I lose it? So did I lose it? Yo, what's good, y'all? This is John Farmer. Welcome to another edition of the One Carolina Show Live. I appreciate y'all being with me tonight. Kind of went live without any kind of schedule. I was going to put this out as a video, but I was like, you know what? Man, I really enjoyed the last live show on Sunday, so I just wanted to come out and talk about this, on a live, and we can react to it in real time, because this is something that I was going to cover at one point before, and I didn't. And, because at the time, I was still kind of dealing with some health issues or whatever like that. So I didn't really get a chance to talk about this when it happened in real time or whatever. Both the addition of Diontae Johnson to the team and some of the things that led up to what I believe was, kind of telltale signs that was happening, that maybe some of this stuff may have went over our heads. Maybe some of us didn't see it. Maybe some of wasn't even really paying attention to it to think that it could be something like that, right? But I was like, man, I have a lot of back channel conversations. Like, I've got a couple of people that I talk to on a regular basis. Two really good friends of mine. Shout out to Keeb and Brad. But when I talk to them, we have pretty, deep conversations, surrounding the team. And sometimes I feel like, especially with Brad, because I talk to Keeb all the time. You guys have seen Keeb. He's a friend of the show, someone that's really close to me. But my boy Brad, who's really funny, super good guy. I've known this guy for the better part of 20 years. We've, been close for a very long time. And, we'll have like 4-hour conversations surrounding like a couple of these topics. And I'm like, man, I really want to be able to condense this and put it in a place where other people can like read and react or see and react at the same time or whatever, because it's, very interesting. Obviously some of the way that you have those conversations can't always be, put out and projected the same way as you have them, off script, because you might say some things, that may rub people the wrong way. But all in all, this was one of those conversations, back channel conversations, that I was like, you know what? I definitely want to have this out loud because I think that what we've seen over the course of the last few years with the Panthers and what we saw this season specifically, I feel like the Panthers took a huge growth step forward in making the decision to trade Diontae Johnson when they did. And it speaks to the level of confidence that not only Dave Canales has in himself, but that Dan Morgan has in himself, and ultimately what David Tepper has in the front room in the or the front office and the organization as a whole. So something we're gonna dive into. But first, gotta shout out a few of y'all I see in the chat already. D Tice, what's good? Appreciate you coming through. Man, you know my man popping bullets in the building. Love you, brother. Man, I love y'all's content. Keep growing, keep doing your thing, man. What's up, Christian? But yeah, let's get right to it. So, this dates back, so to start, I would say, this dates back to the first Panthers blueprint that was put out some 5-6 months ago, something like that, right? And I remember seeing the clip that I'm about to show you guys. And I'm going to start there, right? But I remember thinking in this clip, like, this is very interesting when you consider the way that this situation played out in Pittsburgh and some of the language and verbiage, in my opinion, that's used here. And it's hard to understand, like, maybe what the mindset was, especially when you consider, like, certain behaviors. Like, when you see people have certain behaviors, like, they don't leave, right? There's certain things, certain quirks about us that, you know, we find really hard to change. Now, I'm a Christian, right? So I believe that, you know, when you surrender your life to the Lord, you become a new creation. So he can change things in you that you can obviously not change in yourself, right? But at the same time, there are core parts of who you are as a person that will be very, very extremely difficult to change, right? And so I want to go to this first clip. We're going to start here, and we're going to go through a series of clips, series of situations that I think led ultimately to it. But ultimately where I land is how proud I am of the Panthers for doing what they did, especially in light of what we just saw today about the suspension. And we'll talk about that too. But let's go. All right, so this first clip was the clip from training camp. Oh, not training camp, but like, I guess, free agent signing, you know, if you will. But this is a conversation that Diontae Johnson was having with Brad Isaac and kind of Dave Canales giving his idea of what they're looking for in different free agent players. And this was kind of the first one that they, you know, highlighted. But here we go.
What up, Coach Brad?
For me, this profession is about people. The personal relationships, that means more to me than anything. When you're genuine and you're enthusiastic about your workplace, the guys can feel it. And when they know that you care for them as an individual, you're going to get the most out of them.
I told Dave, like, we need that.
Now, I know it's playing fast, y'all, but, you know, I ain't trying to get copyrighted, so just bear with it.
To start with, where, like, if they don't respect him, he's winning. You know, they're wrong. Like, for us, that vision is huge. Like, we put you over there, and they don't have help on that corner. Like,
Duh, yeah.
You showed that for years, like, you made people wrong when they don't help, right?
Right.
My dad always said, hey, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you at the things that you know you need help with. And Brad is just so organized.
First order of business.
All right. So the first thing that I thought about when I saw this, way, way back then, was you bring him in to be the X. And look, the paperwork checks out. You know, one of the top route runners, separators, you know, in the entire NFL. The stats check out. I mean, we can see it for ourselves. 2019 rookie season, 680 yards. And it was just progression up until 2022, right? And a lot of this was happening not even in full, like, game started. So, like, for example, you got 680 yards in 12 games in 2019. 2020, he goes for 923 in only 13 games. And then 2021 went crazy. 1,161 yards and 8 touchdowns in that season in 14 games. Impressive, right? Now, things started to dwindle down a little bit, but you also brought in George Pickens. So, you know, obviously things are going to change because he's going to start commanding targets as well. So you go into 2022, 882 yards, 717 last year, and then, of course, he gets to us, and there's 363 yards. And you could tack a little bit of that on from what he's done. I think he had a couple of catches in, like, one game in Baltimore so far. But most of that comes from us. So you can see the reasoning behind why they wanted to do what they wanted to do. The only issue that I really took with, I guess, you have to be. It felt like it was a sense of desperation for me when it came to, like, hey man, you're gonna be our primary guy. You're gonna be the primary target. We're gonna make you the X, especially when, and I don't know if this point when they're having this conversation, if they've already got a plan in their head, like, okay, if Xavier Legette falls, that's gonna be our guy, right? So you brought in an X and then you drafted X. That's a bar. But the point is that you knew that you were coming in to help groom the next guy. It was possible that you were coming in to be the guy, which is what was sold to you. But as we know, man, this is a week-to-week league, so things always change. Like I said, my biggest problem with it, though, was like it almost felt like Carolina, out of desperation, was rewarding bad behavior. And I know some people probably disagree with that. But we remember the stuff that was going on in Pittsburgh. We remember watching him literally give up on plays out of frustration, right? And then it led me to thinking, like, okay, just how bad was this from the beginning? And that leads me to my next clip, because I saw this and I thought this was really interesting. So this was the only drive that Bryce Young played with in the preseason against the Bills with the ones, right? And I noticed this, and I remember telling my homeboy, I was like, immediately, we're watching the game, just cooling, having a good time, you know what I'm saying, enjoying the, atmosphere, whatever like that. And then I saw this, and it happened so fast, but I saw it, and, we didn't have really time to rewind because I wasn't controlling the remote. So I was like, I got to go watch this again when I get home. But, bro, I just saw something. This ain't going to work. He's like, man, what you mean? I'm telling you, it's not going to work. And sometimes, like I said, I think that I'd be too chicken to come out and just say what I got to say and just let the take be the take. Because I really don't look, I ain't no NFL player, man. And I don't want to be in the business of bashing people, you know what I'm saying, for doing a profession that I can only dream about doing, right? I never had a dream to be an NFL player, right? But when you're playing something at the highest level, when you achieve the highest of the heights, right? You don't want to be that guy, at least not me. I can't speak for anybody else out there, but for me, I don't want to, I remember having a sort of a back and forth with Brian Burns' brother, Hype Man Lucci, right? Salute to him, whatever. And it was like, I put out a tweet and I was like, yo, it was during the NFC Championship game, San Francisco and Philadelphia. Hassan Reddick was going crazy. Hassan Reddick had the sack where he hurt Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy was out for the game, right? And I remember thinking I was like, yo, I said something that I thought out loud. I was like, man, yo, low key, Hassan might be better than, and I do feel like in a way, bro used to really just go around Twitter and just be looking for fights. You know what I'm saying? He would literally go around and be like, all right, who talking about him today so I can get at you? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it was a little bit of that. But it was also man, did you really have to say that? And I'm like, nah, I probably shouldn't have said that. You know what I'm saying? So I actually made a video where I apologized, right? But it was only because I was like, man, I ain't trying to pull up at training camp or do something like that and have a confrontation or something like that over some words, because it really ain't that serious. But it was just a take from my behalf, which I honestly, it's a take I believe, right? At least at that point, for sure. I definitely believed it. But the point is that the take was the take. I'm careful about how I go after guys in certain ways because I don't want to create an atmosphere where people feel like, yo, this dude just be out here with, hot takes talking crazy. I mean, to some degree, the gig is the gig, but, whatever. But the point is that when I saw this play, I should have came out and said what I had to say early on. Now, I probably would have looked crazy because he's got more yards to start the season off than anybody else. We saw what was happening in the Raiders game when Andy Dalton finally got to start. And we saw the big play not 3 or 4 plays before this, on this drive where Bryce on 4th and 3 kind of, threw the ball, on the run, and he caught the big first down pass, right? So it would have looked nuts to be like, yo, what do you mean this is not going to work? But I'm telling you, man, I've seen this story too many times, and especially with young quarterbacks. And where I feel like Carolina took the biggest step of growth is cutting this off before it got worse. And I'll go into that in just a minute. But check this out. So Bryce Young surveying around. Boom. throw the ball on the side, watch his body language. Oh, my gosh. Let's play it again. Body language is the tell. Angry. I'm covered. Where am I going with that ball? Fade route in the end zone. Corner route, whatever you want to call it. But I'm already throwing my hands up like, oh, my goodness. Man, it's preseason. It's the first drive of the preseason. We haven't even really had any time together, any reps together. And this is what's happening already? When I saw that, I was like, yo, this ain't going to work. Why is it not going to work? Because you're dealing with a fragile, at the time, especially, we're starting to see a little bit of difference now. But, man, we know Bryce Young ain't no loud vocal guy. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with a guy that needs to have buy-in from everybody in order for him to be successful, right? At least at that time. This is hard. Like, if you've never worked with people like this, you and I probably know this, right? If you've never worked with people who are extremely difficult to work with and you can't handle that yet, you either going to do one or two things. One, you're going to find a new job. Or two, well, I say three things. You either A, going to find a new job. B, you're going to crash out. You know what I'm saying? You and that person going to have real issue, right? Or three, you can cocoon. And that's what a lot of people do. Most people choose one or three. There's a few people out there that would just absolutely crash out. And when I say crash out, I ain't talking about how they talk about it on the internet. I'm talking about dudes that will actually run the fade with you on spot. You know what I'm saying? That's not the kind of guy we dealing with here, right? I remember that happening back when Robbie and Sam were playing together, right? Robbie and Sam in the New England game, I believe it was. Sam threw an interception in the end zone. He wasn't even targeting Robbie. He was targeting DJ Moore and Jonathan Johnson or whatever his name was, John Jackson or something like that. J.C. Jackson, I think it might have been, intercepted it. I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. If he is, he ain't where he went. Like, he went to the Chargers, and I haven't seen him there, but I could be wrong. But the point is that after that pick, man, they go on the sideline. Robbie just going crazy, blanking on him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, this is wild. Because the contrast to that was like, not even a few games later, Cam showed up. And Cam had a couple of questionable picks. It wasn't the same energy. Why not? Because you know your audience. You know who you're dealing with. And you got two quarterbacks on this roster that neither one can handle that, right? Furthermore, you go back to when he was in Pittsburgh, and you look at the years. 2019, yes, Mason Rudolph, I think Ben Roethlisberger, was on the roster, but he spent most of the year hurt. So Mason's your quarterback, and then after that, it's just a hodgepodge of guys, right? None of those guys had a command over the offense to be able to tell you what they needed you to do, which brings me to my next point. And I love this. Like I said, with Bryce, you're not going to get with Bryce or Andy Dalton something that I saw here. And I feel like, because the thing with Deontay that really upsets me the most is like, all right, let's go back to this real quick. Let's take his average of 363 yards divided by the 7 games that he played. That's 51 yards a game, right? If we take that and we multiply that, provided that he plays a full season, and we multiply that by 17, that's 860 plus yards, right? So that's almost a 1,000-yard season. Now, that's including 2 games that he played with Bryce Young that Bryce barely broke 80 yards passing. So it stands to reason to believe that it's a good chance he probably goes over 1,000 yards receiving. It's an even better chance that if Bryce starts to develop with somebody that he can build trust with, that a lot of these drops, and look, shout out to Xavier Legette, but Xavier Legette was hardly the guy that was the hands guy coming into this draft. That was one of his biggest knocks in his scouting report. Body catcher, body catcher, body catcher, pause, right? It was, hey man, if I use my hands, jugs machine, right, just a lot of practice, he's going to get better at that. You can see it. It's developing. It's slowly developing. There's certain routes that he's not used to running. That pass where Vita Vea blew Bryce Young up, but man, he threw a dot to Xavier Legette. Boom, right off the helmet, right? Hands. That'll get better. While I'm waiting for that to get better, I got a guy in front of you who's a master at this. And we saw it. It was a couple of games, man, where we saw this happening. And it looked great. Then it fell apart. Why did it fall apart? Body language, attitude. You know what I'm saying? The thing that sucks the most for this guy, and I know he's not here anymore, but we just, like I said, I just want to talk about it. What stinks the most for this guy is the fact that you're on a 1-year prove-it deal and you're getting benched for not going into a game. Why? Because I want to be the dude. Bro, you had the perfect opportunity to be the dude. You were the guy here. And it's like, it sucks because it's like, yo, we could really use this production. Same thing I think about Smitty. I've always had the belief that Smitty had to leave for Cam to become what we saw in 2015. We saw the maturation of it the year after he left, 7-8-1, right? We saw the blood and guts game. But for Cam to really be able to take command of the offense, unfortunately, it had to be without him. And that sucks because we all know if he was available 2015, two things I think can be true. One, you might not have the season that Cam had. It would be a very good season because it would be a replica of what happened in 2012, 2013. But we would, or 2013, 2014, I should say. But we definitely would have won that Super Bowl if all things measured out equally. And we made it because he would have been a force multiplier and a difference maker on that offense, right? Especially in Kelvin Benjamin's, absence. So it sucks to not have that kind of opportunity or have that opportunity in front of you and it flame out and not work out. But it makes me happy because the Panthers over time, guys, how many times have we seen players get brought onto this team? And whether it's I'm friends with the coach or nepotism or shout out to Pat Coltrane, nephewtism, whatever it is, and for whatever reason, instead of cutting bait, like, look, I can think of one right now. I know most of y'all already know who it is before I even say the name, right? And I know some people will be like, yo, it makes no sense. Like, I understand from a certain perspective why Ian Thomas is still on the team, right? Because he's a heck of a blocker. But when you start seeing JT and Tommy Tremble get off, it's like, it's about that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, salute to you, bro. You've had a heck of a career. We appreciate your contribution, but maybe in another jersey now. You know what I'm saying? And but he hasn't, in my opinion, done anything egregious enough to, like, be cut, right? Or, like, when you see, like, you give up draft capital for, like, a C.J. Henderson. Clearly, you know that there's some issues, whether it be, locker room issues or whatever it is, something that's impeding his progress. And they still don't cut bait. They still believe in him wholeheartedly. They're still not giving younger guys a chance. Keith Taylor, Kenny Robinson, well, he was a safety. Troy Pride Jr. It's like, no, we hanging on to this guy. This our guy. Why? Because you gave up so much to get him. Why not? So it makes perfect sense. In the Diontae scenario, it was a win-win. They got Diontae Jackson. We got Diontae Johnson. Hey, we ain't have to give up no draft capital. Perfect. Works out for us, works out for y'all. We ain't got to pay him nothing. That's another beautiful thing about the situation. We didn't pay him anything, right? So other than, the 1 year or whatever, taking over that contract. But the point is, like I said, it just sucks that it didn't work out. But I'm proud to see decisiveness, right? They make a decision like, you know what? We don't really care what anybody thinks, how this may play out, whatever. We're going to make this decision, and it's going to be final. If I see that this is not something that's meshing well, like, look, I benched the young guy, right? I benched him, and then I brought in the vet, and you still struggle with the vet. Oh, yeah, I got to get you out of here. Which I have a tinfoil hat. Let's go ahead and do it. Tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. I almost feel like the benching of Bryce Young, like, no, don't get me wrong. His play was awful. His play was absolutely trash. Not going to take that away, or try to overlook that. Because I know that some people, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not going to deep dive that tonight. We'll deep dive that another time. I'll just say this. I feel like conspiracy me, this was a separating wheat from tares moment, if you will. I got to sit the rook because I could let him work through it. Because clearly we see, like, sitting him worked wonders. But I still believe that it was more a matter of learning the offense than it was like, yo, I'm trash. Like, my confidence is gone. Like, nah, it's a brand new offense. This is my third offensive coordinator in a year and one game. It's going to be a learning curve. And I feel like over time, because we've seen the maturation process. There was a play in the game. I thought this was excellent. I saw somebody pointing this out. And Bryce was at the line of scrimmage, set the protection, but then moved Jonathan Brooks and basically assigned him like, hey, when my first hut and I'm seeing what they're doing, I'm like, all right, I'm taking first there was motion, then I'm taking my running back. You get this guy right here, hut, literally that guy comes up, bangs with Jonathan Brooks, and what we get? Come back from Xavier Leggett. First down, 20-yard, play or something crazy like that, right? And it was like, it was a beautiful thing to see that he's getting this maturation. I still think that happens even if they don't bench him. It just takes time. But unfortunately, when you have veteran guys, right, and you've got guys that have been in situations where they've seen success, they may not have seen the ultimate success, but they've seen success, you're not going to be able to convince those guys to wait this out, which brings me to my next point. The Adam Thielen play. I think, another tinfoil hat conspiracy, that this Adam Thielen play is built because, look, there have been multiple times for Adam Thielen to be frustrated. We never saw this. Never saw it. Not once until this point. I'm wide open, Bryce. Why didn't you see me? Right? Pissed. I think that the kind of energy that's circulating around the wide receiver room allows for someone like this, who is usually extremely composed, rightfully so frustrated, but extremely composed, to have a moment like this. And he talked about it in his press conference. Hey, it came to a head. It was boiling over. I put out a tweet when I saw this. This is how you start to lose a locker room, right? And some people thought that was coded. I had people reaching out to me. Yo, dog, you giving up on Bryce? No. What are you talking about? If I say this is the beginning of losing the locker room, this means that clearly, like, look, could that be loaded? Yeah, you could say, like, oh, you are giving up on Bryce. No. Where I'm going with this is clearly there's something going on inside of these rooms that they don't have control over. To me, if a coach loses the locker room, I don't know. This is just my theory, right? If you lose the locker room as a head coach, you're not a good coach. You're not coaching. You're just there, right? Man, I'm going to spit all in the camera and everything. But you're just there. Mike Tomlin dealt with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger and his stuff from back in the day, Santonio Holmes. Gosh, who else? I mean, the battles between Ryan Clark and Antonio Brown inside the locker room were crazy, right? The stories that we hear. And I dealt with Diontae Johnson. And look, all of those guys didn't get bounced. This stuff that we're seeing with Deontay, this ain't new. This is stuff that's probably been going on for quite some time. If you go back, it probably dates even further back to college, right? So I dealt and managed with those personalities and still found a way to never have a losing season. I don't want to hear about losing no locker room. That was part of my issue with the benching way back then. Was like, yo, if you're losing the locker room, then tell the dudes that want to play, and the guys that you're losing to sit down somewhere. We know we're rebuilding. We know what this is. Now, I know that's hard to hear, and it's hard to even get that message across, right? But I do feel like the Thielen situation that happened here was, and I'm not blaming Deontay for this. I don't want this to be taken that way. But I do think that the energy that was circulating inside that wide receiver room, this allows that. Look, if you're seeing this stuff, look, my man threw a pick the first play of the season, right? The first play of the season. Of course these guys are talking. Man, I don't know if I believe in this dog. Man, man, he can't see over the line, man. All this stuff that man, look what he doing in practice, but it ain't really correlating to the field, though. But this just, I don't know. And what kind of guy is Bryce not? He's not this guy. I love this clip. This is another back channel conversation. If this thing with Bryce would have absolutely blown up, this clip right here made me absolutely go crazy over like the opportunity or the potential to draft Shedeur Sanders. Because I love this stuff. I gotta turn my volume up. My apologies. This clip is money.
What?
Give me 11 personnel. Hold on a second. Just relax, guys.
I love it. That's Cam Newton energy. I love that. Love it. I don't care. Catch the ball. Travis was right. Hey, man, he holding me. I don't care. Catch it. That's the only way that some people are going to respond. Because what happened afterwards?
Let's go. I want to go.
Greatness. Greatness begets greatness. I do not care. Now, let me ask y'all a question. I haven't looked at the chat, so y'all might be talking crazy about me. I don't know yet. I'm going to get to it in a second. But I'm going to ask y'all a question. Is there ever a scenario where you could see Bryce doing that? Heck no. I'll answer for you. No. You are not going to see that coming from him. At least not right now. Could it eventually? Possibly. But not right now. The point is, though, is that I think part of the benching was to see, let's just see how bad this really is. Let's see if this happens with the vet. Now, Andy ain't never proved himself to be that kind of guy either. But you know what? He did play with AJ Green. He did play with this person, even though AJ was as calm as they come. Put him out there. He's going to play better. You know, these guys will get mad opportunity. That's awesome. But we want to see just how different this looks with him having an opportunity. And you know what? Same result. Same result. I appreciate y'all being here with me tonight. Go to the chat, see what y'all are talking about. Man, I didn't even realize there's 45 people in the chat. I appreciate it. Evan says Bryce needed to start putting the focus on receivers instead of high. I think him, maybe. That's what you said? Okay. James E says, I think Bryce receivers will thrive with big targets. I think Bryce needs big receivers or will thrive with big targets. I don't think this is a Cam Newton kind of situation. You know, they did that same thing when they drafted in separate drafts, Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funchess, right? Because Cam would miss a lot of guys high. I don't think this is the same situation. I personally think that the kind of guy, you know what? Let's do something real quick. And I'm glad you said this, James. I'm gonna go a little bit further on your point here, because I was looking at something the other day, and I was checking out. Let's see, 2024 wide receiver rankings, draft class ranking. Here we go. Wide receivers, position rankings. Actually, 2025. Sorry. Because I was looking at some guys and I was thinking to myself, like, okay, if I, just playing de facto GM, what would I be looking for in a guy like to kind of come in and change this situation? Like, obviously, here's the guy that everybody's talking about, the McMillan kid, right? I like this guy, but is this guy going to be Mike Evans with his size, height, and difference making, ability, long strides, all that kind of stuff, or is he going to be Dwayne Jarrett? Well, clearly not Mike Evans with a very slender build. But the one thing that stood out to me more than anything else, right here. If you guys can't see it, I'll zoom in for you a little bit. Very low separation scores versus single coverage in 2023 on 38 contested targets. That stuff tracks, man. That tracks. I would rather have a shifty guy, a la Tank Dell, McConkey, one of these slot dudes, right? Because I do believe that Xavier Legette is going to improve. I think he can take big strides from from season 1 to 2. But when I see stuff like this, though, very low separation, I'm out. That's your bread and butter in the NFL. And if you have struggles with that, I just don't see anything like that improving. That's just me. Not saying that it can't. This guy may come out and be excellent. But when I see that, I'm like, red flag. Luther Burden was someone that I was interested in. Great all-around athlete. Another thing here. Good balance for yak. Love that. Adequate long speed for NFL. Love that. Fast footwork for effective releases. Love that. But the yak thing is very interesting to me. Why am I more interested in the yak? I'm interested in yak because San Francisco last year led every team in the NFL with yards after the catch. If one or two plays goes their way, they're hosting the Lombardi. Corner blitz, if he picks that up and doesn't get blasted and miss not George. What's their tight end's name? Kittle, yeah, George Kittle, sorry. That's a whole different game. Couple of stops, that's a whole different game. It came down to the wire. Had to, right? So if this guy's a good yak guy, give me all of that, man. That's what I want. I want somebody who can take it to the crib after the catch. We already see that he plays fast. We already see that he's a tactician. We already see that he's starting to get a better understanding of the offense. And Dave Canales is at some points, I'll tell you this, I love his balance. I heard Josh Graham from The Drive say this, and I'm no expert, so I don't know how much I agree with it, but it sounds good. Boy, it does sound good. He said that balanced offenses are not what you think they are. Like, it's not – a balanced offense wouldn't necessarily be like, I can run the ball well, I can pass the ball well. Like, that's part of it. But a balanced offense from his perspective is more whatever the defense is showing me, I have the ability to be able to attack it from that perspective, and that creates the balance, right? Even if you're not that great a running team. You might be, 6th, 7th, 8th in the league, passing, and 20th running. But in any given game, if they're showing you more zone looks and you got good one-on-one matchups that you can, exploit with your offensive line, we're running the ball today. And you might look like a team that's number 1 in rushing. We saw that. We saw that happen against Detroit a couple of years ago, right? So that is what his idea of balance is. I like that. So for us, as far as like this wide receiver, Luther Burden, that would be something I would be interested in because it would just create more opportunities for bigger chunk plays, bigger chunk yardage. I mean, that play to Tommy Tremble, that heads-up play, imagine having a guy, like even a guy like imagine if Shi Smith would have had better hands, right? He has a very good understanding. Now, obviously it didn't work out for him in football, but in NFL, I should say. But, like, there was a few moments where we saw some things from Shi Smith that was like, man, on the drag, Shi take one to the crib, bro. Like, if he could catch it consistently, if he wasn't looking to get blown up after the catch, which who wouldn't be? I mean, you 5'11", 6 foot, you know what I'm saying? I don't even think that's all. Getting blown up by some 6'3", 6'4" linebacker? Nah. You wouldn't either. So don't even lie to yourself in your head and say that or type it. But, yeah, appreciate the comment. Let's see. Emeka the one. I've heard about Emeka. Poppin says Ricky White. Golden from the Texas Longhorns, Pop said. The best route runner has the best hands. Let's check him out. So he would be the next one up. So this is Emeka. Now, I remember him. Emeka went off. Like, you know, when he played with JSN and was Olave there, Javon, whenever I think he was. I think Olave was there as well. Very quick, controlled player, high separation scores due to elite body control, speed control. Hey, listen, there was you know those PFF graphs. You can't always those aren't always accurate, right? But they're accurate enough. But the PFF graph showed one time before that Puka Nacua was one of the highest rated separators in all of college football the year that he came out. And he fell all the way to the, what was he, fifth round, something like that? So when you start seeing things like that, separation, I mean, there is nothing better than that. Like, there's guys like speed is one thing, and speed is cool. But, like, Ladd McConkey is serving. And that ain't a speedster. That was Hunter Renfro's thing, serving, not a speedster. T.O. was not a burner, serving. Now, T.O. can fly, don't get me wrong. But that wasn't – T.O. could get deep, but, like, it wasn't like Randy Moss speed when we're talking about the comparison of the X's, right? Brandon Marshall wasn't no big-time burner. But being able to separate, understanding body control, understanding leverages and things like that, that's important. I like this too. Willing, feisty blocker. Hey, listen. One of the big things that I love about Leggett is, like, on a lot of those, like, you know, Chuba Hubbard, you know, take off and scamper for, you know, 40, 50 yards, you see Leggett out there getting busy. I love that. So you get guys to buy in like that, you become a team that, like, I love that because one of the things that I love as far as pedigree for the Carolina Panthers is, like, I really want us to become a team that people get scared to come and play. That's kind of been our pedigree in the past. Like, I remember one time having a conversation. So I talk about this often. And, you know, I'm going to have my brother on the show eventually. I've talked about him quite a bit. If you don't know, I'll go ahead and tell you. So my brother played college football, played for the Troy Trojans, spent a had a cup of coffee with the St. Louis Rams when they were in St. Louis, right? And, you know, we'd have conversations and he would talk about, you know, different things on the field and things that, you know, he was excited about, things that, you know, he was looking forward to being able to do in this game, that game, whatever like that. Well, I remember one time, and when I'm talking about intimidation, right, and how intimidating it can be seeing certain players. I remember my brother was playing against the Florida Gators. This was back in, like, I want to say 07, 08. It was his, I want to say it was his last year at Troy. And I can remember my dad and I wanted to go to the Florida game. We were super excited about that, and we didn't get to go, you know, because they were playing in the swamp. And, you know, my brother had a pretty good game, you know, a couple of tackles. You know, Tebow had fumbled, and, you know, he recovered the fumble. I think, as a matter of fact, I was showing one of my homeboys this earlier today. I'm sure he won't mind me showing this, but because this was the picture, or that was a picture of my brother recovering the fumble against Florida with Tebow right there, 42. And so, you know, we were talking, and I was telling him this story, and he, you know, my homeboy's always fascinated about hearing these stories about, you know, my brother and his football exploits and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, man, how did your brother feel playing in the swamp against, you know, the Gators or whatever, man? That's Tim Tebow, that's the Pouncey twins, that's, you know what I'm saying, Percy Harvin, all these players. And I was like, man, you know, honestly, when he walked away from that game and we talked later that night, his sentiment was not really like, man, it was a, you know what I'm saying, like, I was starstruck by Tebow or anything like that. Like, of course you would be to some degree. Like, man, it was cool to, you know, play against him. He's a really nice guy, all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, like, were you scared? Because, like, you know, these some dudes, man, Aaron Hernandez, like, all these guys, you know, not, obviously not the Aaron Hernandez that we became to know, but just as a player, right? And he's like, that really didn't do anything for me. He said, but when we started getting shellacked going into the third quarter, they brought in this quarterback. And this quarterback played in high school with one of my teammates named Brandon. And he said, bro, I have never been more scared in my life. And I was like, why? He was like, because this dude is like 6'7" and can run like the wind, and he's jacked. And I'm like, man, who is this guy he's talking about? And I go do my research, and y'all know exactly who it was. It was Cam Newton. And he was terrified to play against Cam. And my brother ain't scared of nothing. Nothing. He said it's the one and only time on any level of football that I have ever played where I was intimidated. Not scared, intimidated, right? Playing against somebody. That used to be us because we had a dude like that on our defensive line named Julius Peppers that literally people would show up and be like, oh my God. Freak of nature. And it wasn't just him. We've had guys like that over the years. Offensive line, defensive line. Jordan Gross, Ryan Khalil. These are dudes that you did not want to lace up against. I'm telling you. Dogs, Chris Jenkins, the running back, Stephen Davis. People would have a hard time tackling Jonathan Stewart. You know what I'm saying? Like, these were dudes that would put their forearm in your chest and move you. Hey, watch out. Hey, that's my spot right there, cuz. Move. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see with Carolina again. So that leads me to my next point in this conversation. Not necessarily. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Let me go to the comments first. All right. T. Higgins would be a great pickup, Christian says. I agree. I want a feared front seven again. So now, Ghost Daddy, I'm highlighting your point. Now we're going to go to what you got to say. Because if it was me, there is only one player, in my opinion, that the Panthers should draft. There he is. That dog, Mason Graham. Got to have him. If you are going to keep the 3-4 defense, that's your guy. All day. Why? Separator, mauler, get off me. 2 at a time, cool. I watched him absolutely wreck Ohio State's game plan this weekend. They wanted to run, they couldn't. They wanted to pass, they couldn't. 2 guys on them, don't matter. I'm in the backfield. This dude is as advertised. So for me, losing to Tampa and possibly and more than likely probably losing to the Eagles, if we continue to see development from the young players, not just Bryce Young, I know that's who we get hung up on all the time, but seeing guys like Shao Smith-Wade develop, you know what I'm saying? Seeing guys like, man, Amari Barno banging. Man, there was a play. I'm going to see if I can find this, man. There was a play I saw somebody shared on X, and I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I'm going to try to find it. But somebody had shared this on X, and I had saved it. Was it this one right here? Nah. Where was that at? Here it is. Watch Amari Barno, 38. Move. Boom. Get out the way. Pressure. And he had a sack too, by the way. If you got guys like that developing, imagine what happens when this is LeBron Ray right here. Here's, who's that on the edge over there? Is that Gil? So imagine Amari here. We got where LeBron Ray is would be, let's just say this isn't your typical, 3-4 set, right? But if it was, at your nose you'd have Mason. To the right of him you'd have Ashawn. To the left of him you would have Derek. Now that can always flip-flop back and forth. My outside linebacker, weak side would be, weak side would be either Amari Barno or Jadeveon Clowney, and then DJ Wanham. Seeing what we're seeing right now, give me that all day. All day. I've already got 2 solid linebackers. I don't think Shaq is going to come back and take the spot from Trevin Wallace. I do think Josie Jewell is going to get better and better in this system. And the secondary, if you create a pass rush, you're not going to be able to throw on us as easy anymore. Tides have changed. So, yes, over a receiver, over Travis Hunter, over anybody else, give me Mason Graham all day long. That's the game changer. One of my homeboys was like, yo, what if you double dip at the tackle position? Because I presented a player to him that I have started to look at, and I don't think this guy's going to fall to the second round, but I don't see this happening. I don't know if y'all know a lot about this kid, Deion Walker. This dude is as much an outlier as you will find at that position, just an absolute beast. 6'6", 345. You can see positives. Great size and moves well for his size, heightened his ceiling at the next level. Against the run. Let's highlight that again. Against the run. Say it one more time. Against the run. Has the upper body strength to lock out offensive linemen and shed blocks. He's shown swim and hump moves, to get off blocks too. Can take away 2 gaps with his strength at the point of attack and agility to work across the offensive lineman's face to make tackles in the adjacent gap. As a pass rusher, he's decent at keeping his feet moving through the contact to collapse the pocket as a bull rusher. What's the negatives? Consistency. There's such a running defense has become such an issue, it may push him up to the first round. But I saw some of this same stuff with Myles Garrett coming out. These were things that we heard about with him. Now, conditioning wasn't an issue with Myles Garrett, but I did hear people would say things like, yo, low motor may take some plays off, things like that. Yeah, it's just draft stuff, right? But if I'm going off of the intangibles and really more than anything else, the size and the athleticism and the just brute force, man, can you imagine a line with the rotations of Derek, Mason, Dion, LeBron, or let's just say not even LeBron, Ashawn Robinson, Shy. Look, that's the kind of team, that's the kind of look. So when I was saying the other day, because I know a lot of people push back on this, when I was talking about retaining Avero, if you're going to keep, if you let Avero go, then you got to have a plan at what you're going to do with the set. Either it's 3-4 or it's going back to 4-3. In my opinion, I think that you could keep Avero and you could start developing. Like, imagine if Amari Barno has more reps and he turns into a serviceable, let's just say his ceiling is DJ Wanham. That's a guy you want. That's a guy you want to keep. And if the 3-4 defense shows and utilizes his strength, that's a huge, huge, huge value considering where you picked him, right? Stands up out of his stance and plays with a very high pad level, causing him to have issues against offensive linemen who play good leverage, combo blocks, and double team. Isn't explosive off the ball of short yardage situations. Subpar accuracy with his hands as a pass rusher. I don't care about. I'm not bringing you in necessarily for pass rush. I got a few guys that can get that done. My question would be, if you got a nose like Mason and you can put him in, different spots on the defensive line, just like with Derek Brown. Like, Derek Brown commands a lot of double teams, and the reason why I love the Mason Graham opportunity is because of what it creates as far as one-on-one opportunities for guys like a Derek Brown. So if you put Deion Walker against somebody one-on-one, that could be a really, really interesting situation. It could create a lot of havoc. It can create intimidation. It can literally man-on-man. Like, I don't like Tampa. But one of the things I love that I saw, there was 2 different things that I saw last week and then when we played the Giants. I remember there was a play where they had Robert Hunt mic'd up. Dexter Lawrence is with him one-on-one. Dexter just mowing right past him. He's like, whoa, 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 throw. Because he's trying to tell Bryce, like, hey, get it out. I don't have this guy. Let the ball go, right? Because when a man step up to you and a man tells you to move out of the way, what do? You move. Period. Salute to you, Ghost Daddy. I appreciate it, man. Ms. Rand says they great Derek Brown? They fear Derek Brown. I agree. Double teams all day. Wesley Page says Mason Grahams. Yes, sir. Hey, Pop, it's different. It's different. And Willie, man, hey, listen, Willie, I appreciate you, man. I always see you in the comments, and I want to tell you I appreciate you as a fan and always commenting and showing love. But Willie said, how many years do you think Clowney has? Maybe one more. Maybe. I mean, I could be wrong, but I would hope. one more. Pop said shock and go. I feel you. Yes, and that you're right. That's how our last draft went, and we nailed it. I would like to give Dan Morgan some credit. Salute to Dan Morgan. Dan Morgan had an excellent draft. We still don't know. There's still one more ace in the hole that we haven't found out about yet. Crumity. Right? We don't know how good. I know this. I know watching some of his college tape, disruptive, right? So that's still one that we haven't really seen. And then turning even the Barrett, like you finesse Seattle, Barrett turns into Mike Jack. Mike Jack's been solid for us in a spot where, honestly, when we got rid of Diontae Jackson, there was some questions like, well, what do we do? So Mike has turned out to be a solid player for us, a good player. I wouldn't even say solid. I'd say a good player, right? Somebody that you can continue to develop and he can continue to grow with the defense, right? And the cool thing is, like, some of these guys like Mike Jack, they're not going to command like a big number. J.C. Horn's your next big contract. But, like, you're not going to – Mike Jack is going to command enough if he continues to have a good season for, 20th, 30, 25th cornerback in the league money, right, as far as contracts are concerned. But is he going to be a guy that, is going to get a JC bag? No, not right now. Maybe not even ever. Probably not ever, right? But it is cool to see that they were able to use a pick to get him. So, yeah, Dan Morgan nailed this draft. You're right. So, moving forward, here's another reason why I'm big on continuity, why I want things to stay together, why I don't want to see Evero bounced. Is because I don't have to, I know what this guy likes. I know what he wants. I'm not going to put DJ Johnson on Ejiro Evero, who, by the way, has been playing some good ball lately. He ain't going to be a sack specialist. We know that. But, buddy, if you can control the edge and help this horrible run defense, you are good in my book. Salute to you. But, yeah, you got a guy that I don't think Dan is going to be taking cues from Evero, right? But knowing the defensive set that he's running, the beautiful thing about having someone like Dan, who was a Mike linebacker, who was the guy literally going around and, hey, here, his version of Luke in his time, right? I know what it's like. I know the differences between the 3-4 and the 4-3 defense. So I know what aesthetic type to look for to place where you need them to be for you to be successful. And then you get those players back that we lost due to injury. I'd love to see that. Why bounce him? It was going to be if the whole season, in my opinion, shifted focus. Yeah, the defense is horrible sometimes. Yes, they play, but they play. I will say this: the one thing I do love about Evero, and I think y'all can agree with this as well. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with it. If you don't agree with it, you don't have to. But I don't think that they're giving up on Evero. I love that. I don't think at all that they're looking at Evero like, you know what? We're not going to play hard. They're still playing hard for him. They're still selling out, right? We're not really – could we potentially be playing for something? Maybe, right? But it's a long shot for us to make the playoffs, even if we would have beat the Chiefs. Still a long shot. Still a huge road to climb. But to see how they've come out and responded – and, I mean, we've been blasted in a few games, man. We got blasted by Denver. And to see them come out and respond the way that they did against New York, the Saints, after we got blasted by them week 1, man, you got to tip your hat to Evero for that. For all the things that he is not doing right, or that I guess we perceive because of how bad the run defense is, the one thing you can't take away from him, them dudes have not given up on him, and they like him. That's a clear sign of that. So, at least that's my take. Appreciate you, Ghost Daddy. Hey, look, a lot of ones. Ghost Daddy said 1. James E said 1. Poppin said 1. Evan said 1. I agree. Yeah. James Harris says, corner-wise, I love the corner from Arizona in the second round, 6'4", and he's a press man corner who has length and ball skills. Let's check him out because I don't know who you're talking about. Corner from Arizona Wildcats. Takario Davis? Is that him? That's got to be him. Arizona, Tacario Davis named National DB of the Week. Davis was a key contributor. The cornerback had 5 pass breakups and 7 solo tackles. One of his pass breakups came in the end zone in a 4th and goal situation. It's great to see Tacario smiling, having fun, blah, 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 whatever. With Davis, he's got such length that the length becomes a problem. He can take the vertical speed off of you, and then he gets his hands on footballs. A lot of other guys can't. The junior from Long Beach, California, had more pass breakups than any other defensive back in the Big 12 during Week 5. Okay. Davis was the second Wildcat to be named a Conference Player of the Week this season after Teodoro McMillan, there your boy again, earned the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week after Arizona's win over New Mexico. Man, you know what? Let me just see something real quick, man. Because y'all keep telling, everybody keep telling me about Teodoro McMillan, man. I just want to see.
He's special. And there's the first one. It's a slant.
Okay.
And right away, he goes without question. Fafita steps up in the pocket. He unloads. He's got a man wide open. T-Mac. And he
might be like that. I'm breaking all the rules tonight. I don't care about it. Man, we ain't worried about monetization over here, man. We'll get some sponsors eventually. Ain't worried about no money, man. We just having fun.
just saunters into the end zone, and it's 6. So far, perfect, 5 for 5, over 100 yards throwing. And again, caught, T-Mac, touch.
Nah, y'all ain't about to do it. You're not about to get me excited. Look, Mason Graham, not about to get me excited. We're not doing it. We are believing in X Leggett. The X. Don't do this to me. No. Yeah, I would say, Sherm like. I can see that. You know, Sherm was a receiver at Stanford. So, yeah, Pop, McMillan is nice, man. McMillan is nice. You know, I like what I see from him. I think that, I heard a quote, or not a quote. I heard a theory once that I thought was really interesting. And they were talking about how Kobe Bryant was highly revered in the NBA, right? But the reason why Kobe doesn't have like the same, like people don't look at him the same way they look at LeBron and Jordan, which they should. And rest in peace to Kobe. They should. Above and beyond, they should, right? But part of it is because of where he played. Not that he played in LA, but that he played on the West Coast. Because when you and I were growing up, right, I'm sure that most of y'all in the chat, you know, depending on your ages, if you're my age anyway, that most of y'all grew up where, you know, Kobe was playing on TNT, like, you know, when it was, you was in the bed. You might be older than us. You might have been outside, but look, I wasn't outside when Kobe was playing when I was in high school. The only time I would get to see Kobe was when they was going on them title runs, right? But the 81-point game and all these other games that, you know, Kobe, these great 60-point games and all this kind of stuff, man, I ain't get to see that. All I saw was the highlights. Why? Because them fools played at like midnight. I'm not staying up for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so with the McMillan kid, for me, playing out there, I don't never get to see him. That's part of it. You know? So, hey, you right, Pop. He look all right. He look all right. Yeah, I'm gonna check him out. I'm gonna check him out, man. I got to. Now, after seeing them clips, you know, I done watched a couple of clips, man. Like what I just showed y'all, I saw, but I wasn't really looking at it. I watched it just because, you know, my homeboy was like, yo, I'm gonna send you this video. You gotta check this kid out. I'm like, all right. So I watched it, and but I wasn't looking at it like I was just looking at it. And I'm like, that's interesting. The only thing I do wonder about, though, is this. What does that room look like? Like, if you, to me, okay, you're getting you got Xavier Leggett, you're getting Jalen Coker back, right? How much y'all believe in Jalen Coker? That's the one thing I will say was the only glaring potential mistake that the front office made. Because when they let him go out there, when they cut him and then he cleared waivers and they brought him back, I'm like, man, like, you start seeing what he's doing now, it's like, that was almost a fumble. So if he develops better, then you've got because a guy like McMillan, he's going to play the X or the Z, right? So I know it's rotation, but where are you, if you're banking on your first round pick from last year to develop, where's he going? Or let's just say it's a similar situation with Deontay. Like, look, when they drafted Xavier Legette, maybe that was it. Maybe that was the reason that caused all the, melee for him and turned him into, or started his villain arc, if you will. Man, I was sold. Y'all done sold me, man. Y'all told me I'm going to be the X. Y'all told me I am the dude. And y'all draft him? Huh? If you'd have drafted Ladd McConkey, I'd have been like, all right, I understand that. That's somebody that's going to be Thielen 2.0. But Legette? Man, I saw what he was doing in South Carolina. That fool get loose and it's a wrap. He riding that horse all the way back to Columbia. So, what my man saying, Belly? About to drop a dime. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that'll turn the page. But, so it does concern me a little bit. Like, if the goal is development, right, where are you putting him? Like, McMillan. You tell me, Pop, because I don't know. I don't know where you're putting him. So after this season over, your wide receiver is going to be dismantled. Who, though? David Moore? That's production. Xavier Legette? Obviously you're not going to let him go. Jalen Coker? There's spots. Adam Thielen, I think he's on a 3-year deal, right? So Adam Thielen's coming back. So who's he taking snaps from? Because there's a lot of guys, and it's a lot of room in that room. Now, I will say this. To your credit, here's what I will say. The coaching staff, the front office, has shown a propensity to not be so concerned with what may work versus what will work. And I love that. I do love that. That's the case of the Deontay situation. Like I said, 51 yards a game, it's pedestrian, sure. But that 51 yards a game turns into less than 200 away from a 1,000-yard season. So if you're willing to give up on that for a project wide receiver from South Carolina, a undrafted project from Holy Cross, and Adam Thielen again, they might do it again. You bring in McMillan, and now I don't think they're going to draft McMillan because he's not going to make it out of the first round. And I don't see a scenario where they move up to go get him, right? But, man, if they brought him in, maybe, hey, Pop, you might be right, bro. Maybe it's another situation where they like, you know what? We bring in competition into the room. And Coker, we love you. Xavier Legette, we love you. Adam Thielen, we love you. But if this boy start burning in practice and, it start looking like what we see right here, somebody snaps getting taken. Because I remember once upon a time that happening in camp with TMJ, and it never materialized into anything else. I'm old enough to remember hearing Smitty say he was going to be taking somebody's job, right? And look, that ain't no knock on Smitty because what you saw was what you saw. It's hard to unsee it. What I do love, though, is I love that people like Smitty, when they get new information, don't stick with old takes. I got new info. Look, I was prepared. Y'all know I am on the Bryce, I ain't driving the bus, but I'm in the jump seat when it comes to the receipt train, right? And I got more coming. Don't let him beat Philadelphia. Do not let him beat Philadelphia, because if he do, I'm on your head. I promise. Not you, Pop. I'm just saying in general. But, man, look, at the beginning of the season, I had my doubts. I still believed in what he could be, and I thought it was a mistake if they would have, jumped ship that early and got rid of him, right? But it's hard not to see that, and I'd be delusional just to look at what was happening and not be like, all right, man. Especially when you don't have nothing else to lean on, right? I talked about this before. Man, when Anthony Richardson, and you struggling and you trying to find your way as a passer, man, I'm 6'3", 240, can run like the wind. Come get some. You know what I'm saying? Like, hat on the hat, come get some. What he gonna do? 5'10". I saw somebody tweet, but this is hilarious. I ain't gonna lie, this is hilarious. Somebody tweeted when he ran that touch, when he had the rushing touchdown, and he kind of like handed the ball over the pylon. Actually, I don't know if somebody tweeted this or I heard somebody say this. It was I heard somebody say this. Said it was the cutest touchdown ever. I was like, man, y'all tripping, man. Leave Bryce alone, man. Y'all better leave him alone. Yeah. Y'all know what time it is. I'm gonna say this. The walkbacks have been epic. I love it. The walkbacks have been epic. But it ain't over. There's still a lot of time. There's still some things left to be desired. I'll say that. But boy, them walkbacks just been beautiful. They've been a thing of beauty, boy. Y'all nigga been running, boy. Pop said, I'm drafting 2 weapons for Bryce in this year's draft, a tight end and a wide receiver. Why tight end? Explain. Pop, I'll drop the link if you want to jump in, man. Explain yourself. Because I don't know if I agree with that. A tight end? Who? To replace who? You going to run 3? Because my tight ends are already set. My tight ends are Tommy Tremble, who has earned. Look, Tommy Tremble is on. I said this in the last live. Tommy Tremble has earned his. What would I say? Tommy Tremble has earned. He's becoming the. When given the opportunity, developing. I feel like he'll be on that same Chuba arc. Chuba's, I don't think, going to be a number 1 running back in the entire NFL. You know, you're not looking for him to be that, But his developmental arc has been a thing of beauty. And I feel like Tommy's on that same path. Like, he stepped up big time in JT's absence. And make no mistake about it, Jatavion Sanders, I'll say this comfortably early, is going to be a star. He is going to be a star. This kid is talented. And it's only going to get better from here. So if we do draft a tight end, I would be interested to know the purpose behind why. Pop, you my dog, man. Link, I got you. I'm about to put it in the chat. Now, this link is only for Pop. No disrespect to anybody else, but I do want to hear from Pop on this. Link. Should show up in a second, Pop. If it doesn't, let me know. But, yeah, the second tight end thing. And plus, Pop, you know what? We definitely got some stuff to talk about, dog. Like, I really hope you saw that link. In the meantime, Tommy said even the rule staff, they hardly ever coach the tight ends. Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. I remember him talking about, oh, you know what? I think I got a pin. Or do I have to pin it in the chat, Pop? I'm not sure. I don't know if that link is. That link should be. There you go. Pop, I got you, dog. Give me just a second. Yep. Yo, can you hear me?
Can you hear? Can you hear me? All right.
Yes, sir. What's good, bro?
Man, you using something totally different.
Yeah.
I like it. So nothing wrong with So I have a couple of different ideas. The reason why I'm not taking McMillan off the board, we don't have a true number 1. Now we can see what Xavier Legette is going to turn into, but McMillan is like how you said he's been compared to Mike Evans. He's a different type of he plays basketball out there, man. He's not playing football. He playing basketball. He's
Yeah.
D-balling people. He's used to dealing with a shorter quarterback too. His quarterback ain't nothing but 5'10", which that's also a plus.
Interesting.
And a smaller guy, but another tight end. With Tommy Trumbull comes into plays that over the years I haven't seen him to stay healthy. And so what better not than have another tight end like the guy from Texans Gunnar Ham, great guy. The guy from Penn State, another kid you can pick up. I mean, that's just another weapon that you would either put on the line, but it also can catch the ball. So that's why I think that that's, and then you got Ian Thomas, which thank you, but ready for you to go. Like you said, appreciate your services.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to fill that void in. You know what I mean? So a 3 tight end on a roster, that's not bad. I mean, Tommy Tremble, JT, and another tight end. Hey, that's the way I would like to go.
Yeah, I like that idea. I haven't seen a whole lot of. The only thing I do concern myself with as far as the additional tight end is because I don't remember seeing a ton of like, what is it? Is it 12 personnel? Is that 2 backs or is that 2 tight ends? Or 22 personnel where it would be 2 tight ends set?
I think 12 personnel is a 2 tight end.
Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of that this season, and so if you sink draft capital into another tight end, in your opinion, do you think that they would have to commit to like having more reps for that tight end?
I think it all depends on who we're playing. I think each game, if you watch Canales call the game, like people was getting mad at Canales, and this is people that if you study the game and really do your research, why did you have Bryce Young throw the ball 46 times? Well, he threw the ball 46 times because they were the 29th passing defense. So he knew he could take advantage of it. He was dependent on Bryce to execute, and Bryce did a great job.
Balance.
A lot of people get mad about him not running the ball. But once again, he plans dependent on who he's playing against every single week. You're not going to see the same thing. Now, you might see where the ball is going to be passed and where areas the pass is going to go, but that's because he's playing to Bryce Young's strength. Other than that, I mean, he's really just playing chess against the opponent. But so to bring another tight end into the offense, I think it just depends on the opponent.
Yeah.
If they have a problem running the ball, you're gonna see a 2 tight end set.
So you don't believe?
I mean, stopping the run. My bad. If they have a problem stopping the run, you're gonna see more tight ends in there.
Of course.
My bad.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So you don't see a scenario where you think JT and Tommy can handle it? You would like to see more?
Tommy Trump's been here for 3 years, and he just hasn't showed me enough health-wise for me just to depend on him. So I need a backup. I can't have just 2 tight ends.
That's fair.
We don't have to jump up high to get a tight end, but there's several good tight ends in here that I like. I mean, the guy, like I said, there's the guy from Texas, the guy from Penn State. Those definitely some guys that I like.
I got you.
There's two more that I like too. 4
All right,
altogether.
Pop, so we're gonna get to what the people really want to hear, man. Let's get to what the people really want to hear because they know why you're here. Pop, you and I have had some very colorful conversations. You are a part of a podcast that I absolutely love. Shout out to Q, shout out to GOAT, all the guys over at Black Cat Panther Podcast. And I've heard you on multiple different platforms. Pop, what is your now take on Bryce Young? And feel free to speak freely. I'm going to give you the floor.
So my now take on Bryce Young is he's playing better. This is what I thought that all Panthers fans deserved from how he's playing now in the last 3 games is how he should have started off this year. Because to us over here on Black Cat Panther Podcast, or at least I'll say for me, because I don't want them to tune me out. They're like, "Nah, I'll speak for you." Is that we gave you a lot of things that he needed. We gave you a tight end. We gave you a coach that would sit here and help you with your weaknesses and your strengths. Gave you a good O-line. I'm so proud to sit here and say, man,
Uh-oh,
Hunt.
Pop. Okay.
Oh yeah,
There you go. Okay, keep going.
I'm going to go get Hunt's jersey. He's the leader of the offensive line.
Agreed.
Um, so with all these things that you have, all these weapons that you have invested, I don't even talk about last year. I wipe my hands away from it. Three games that he's won. Is it enough for me to jump out the window? I can't do that quite yet. It's not enough. It's not enough substance. It's not enough meat on the bones. But is he trending upwards? Cool, and I accept that.
Pop, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
And salute to you, man. Salute. Hey, listen, they say the first step to recovery is admitting a problem. So we're going to give Pop a hand real quick because we are so happy that Pop has finally come around. He's finally come around. Thank you, Pop. But
Yeah, go ahead. I just like to keep it black and white.
however, I got a
Go
question.
ahead.
What does jumping out the window look like? What do you mean by jumping out the window, Pop?
I mean, like me and you are fans, but I wouldn't say I would say I'm a fanatic. I'm not gonna sit here um and look at your report card and seeing a whole lot of F's, and then all of a sudden you're starting to study a little bit more. Now you're starting to make better grades.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to appreciate you, studying harder, taking it more serious, or getting out of your mind boggle that you was in, or wherever he was at during those times that he sat down and finally starting to, show some better outcome.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can do. I can only be fair, and we're going to critique you if you're good or you're bad. And the issue is that some people look at it like if we're talking about a little child when we're really talking about a grown man. And my thing is that as a fan, you've watched this team sit here and invest so much. You just you want to see your investment in a turnaround. It doesn't necessarily have to be. If all these games were like this, Big John, like the last 3 games, I wouldn't be mad.
Mm. Okay.
But they weren't. They haven't been.
So let me ask you this, because the topic that I was on tonight was the Diontae Johnson thing, because
I love that. I definitely want to talk about that.
Yeah, I showed a few clips. That one clip, and I don't know if you can see this, but I'm gonna try to do this anyway. So I'm gonna add you
I can see it.
Okay, yeah, to this screen. So I showed this clip, and this was interesting because I saw this in the preseason, and immediately I thought to myself, like, yo, this is not gonna work. Like, when I saw his body language after this throw, like, it was really interesting. Like, so Bryce looking around, surveying, and then he throws it to him. He tries to lead him and throws it to him. Watch him. Oh my gosh. Frustrated. He's locked up. Like, what are you doing with that? Now, I understand on one hand, I got a quarterback who's breaking containment because of the pass rush. I've got a corner that's on me. This quarterback's trying to lead me, so we're already outside of the structure of the play. But why are you getting frustrated in the preseason? This is the first time that y'all have had a series together. Why is this happening already? What's your thoughts on this, Bob?
So just to give you a little story, right? Me and the Black Cat and the fellows, we always try to take our time out because we're invested, just like many of you that's here in the chat.
Yeah.
Is that we go and see these guys in person. So we went to a practice. We went in, had a great dinner, this, that, another outing, this, that, another. But we went to go see not the Fan Fest. What was it? I think it was Fan Fest. Or I forgot what they called it before that. But we went to go watch them practice in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
We did the same thing last year when we drafted Bryce. But this time, they did it in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there, and I'm sitting beside MDJ, which is another host of Black Cat. And me and him are talking, and Diontae Johnson is literally getting upset at practice.
Wow.
At practice, man. Attitude, throwing his hands up. Bryce is taking him underneath his arms, like, hey man, I don't know what they're saying, but I can tell he's like, hey man, we're still trying to get our groove, this, that, another, calm down, we're gonna get it together.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the case may be. That is not what you need to see. So I knew, and we've been saying it on Black Cat, If this man doesn't get the ball, we were worried he gonna put his hands on Bryce because of his
Agreed.
attitude. Now when he got on front of the camera, if y'all really paid attention to Deontay, he was very calm. He talked about how much he liked Bryce, this, that, and other. He showed him a lot of love. And as time went on, it started to switch. He said, "I can't do everybody's job."
He
So
did.
that type of
He did say
attitude
that.
is not the culture that I want here either. I didn't like what Thielen has been doing in past 2 years, but at least Thielen has not given up. But Thielen last 2 seasons when things weren't going the right way, he was kind of talking spicy too.
Hey, look,
But
here's
at
that.
least but at least he's a little bit more mature and is trying to stick with it.
You see it, Pop. You see it. Like, look, frustration, mad frustration. Pulled that clip up too. I said earlier, I feel like this energy comes from. We have never seen Adam Thielen do this in the history of his career as a football player in the NFL. I don't know what he was doing at Minnesota. I know, and I'm not talking about Minnesota Vikings. I'm talking about the college. But I know this. I don't ever remember a time seeing that. And this guy has played with some dudes like, look, this guy was the guy on his team, and then Justin Jefferson showed up, and he started getting less targets. You still didn't see that. I feel like that energy is created off of what I'm. Like I said, I want to be responsible because I don't want to blame Deontay for that, but it just feels to me like the kind of energy that was existing. Like, bro, when Bryce throws, the picks in the Saints game, when he has the horrible Chargers game, that, or this happened during the Chargers game, but the energy from the Saints game, they're talking in that wide receiver room. And if what you were talking about to me just now, like giving me that report, that just furthers my point. What do you say to that?
You absolutely correct. You were spot on. And that's one thing. Shout out to you for being a scholar watching body language. I mean, because if you can see that right there just in a preseason game, hey, a lot of us were mad that it took so long for the players to get out there to play. But do you finally get out there to show something, some type of production, and you're getting mad?
Yeah,
That's you're not for the team. You're for I,
that's
and
right.
there's no I in the team, and we don't want that here.
Now, Pop, I want to ask you a question. Miss Rand put something in the comments, and salute to Miss Rand. She said, my question is, what will make people who don't like Bryce, and I ain't saying you don't like Bryce, feel better about him being our franchise quarterback? Like, that's a great question. That's a universal question. What do you say to that?
So I have nothing personal against Bryce. There's I don't know him personally. I think any man who's a father out here that has a daughter will probably want their daughter to meet a man like Bryce.
Agreed.
But besides that point is um so let's just start from the social skills, right?
Okay.
There's a certain confidence that I want to hear even when you're speaking to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When you're reaching out to the masses, there's a certain type of confidence I want you to hear. I want to hear from you even when you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Even if you made a mistake. I can take you saying I'm sorry, but it's how you saying I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe it? And there was a lot of like unsureness with it. Nervous, which you should be, but
Mm-hmm.
it didn't draw me into believing what you're saying. Now, as far as his skill set, I cannot sit here and blame him for what the people put on him too. He was put under a lot of pressure. He was this, he was that, this, that, and other. Cam Newton didn't come up with the Superman name. Actually, it was made up by a reporter who's now retired. I can't think of his name at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the one that gave him the nickname, and Cam Newton just grasped it and took off with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I mean, in order for Bryce to make me feel like he's the guy, just keep doing what you're doing now. But put it on your back. Put it on your back a little bit, because I don't want us to be in a situation where we have to sit here and get all these top tier guys,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we can't keep them, because every quarterback, every franchise quarterback should have to be able to elevate the team as far as offensively, because you can't have a top 10 wide receiver, a top
Mm-hmm.
10 O line, a top 10 running back, and everybody get paid. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So I need him to get to that status where, okay, you can have a B plus guy, but make him look like an A. Because you're executing it so well. I don't want him to be the fall guy. And
Right.
I mean, I'm not gonna make no excuses. I have blamed Bryce for a lot of things, but also I have to blame the organization too because they took
Yeah.
risks and chances.
And that and that's fair. That's fair. I'll ask you this because I have I measure Bryce by two standards. I think, especially when you look at him being the outlier at his size, right? That's always going to be a thing for some people, and that's okay, right? But I see Bryce as two standards. If Bryce becomes the Bama version of Bryce, which it kind of looks like he might be trending in that direction, right? If he becomes that Bama version of Bryce, that's a huge plus for us. That's a win. A win that I could honestly say, I know this is gonna sound crazy, Pop. But if that becomes the case, then it's a win that was enough for us, right? Like, in other words, like, I'll say this as a contrast. What I'm looking for from Bryce is this: stability. I'm not even considering what we gave up, which, if I'm being honest with you right now, you look at that Chicago situation. Now, obviously, the tables always turn, but it don't look like the worst thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
No, I
when
doesn't.
when you consider what we gave up to go get him, that's always going to be a story until it doesn't become a story when his play starts to kind of, deserve it. If he became just Alex Smith for us, would that be okay for you? Would that be okay with you? Alex Smith in San Francisco.
I think it can. I think it would be. Um, yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody would complain if he becomes that efficient. Cause Alex Smith was an efficient quarterback. I mean, I don't care what nobody says. I mean, Kansas City wasn't just trash always.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely had somebody there. They just can't get over the hump. But Kansas City problem was pretty much their defense too, as well as they
Yeah.
gotten better at. If he becomes an Alex Smith, no, I wouldn't have a problem. And like I said, I wouldn't have a problem if we look competitive from the beginning to the end,
Mm-hmm.
and that progression just kept getting better and better and better. But him coming out and looking like he forgot how to play football has been my problem. It's like, okay, like what are we doing? Like,
Yeah,
but
you're right. And look, in
it's not only
fairness,
him; it's a lot of things.
it is. But it was, in fairness, it was bad. I do, while I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna be a fan. I'm gonna be a fan. I ain't gonna be a fanatic. You know what I'm saying? On one hand, yes, I was still a fan even through the struggles. I had to look objectively at what I was seeing and say something is broken. Like, there's something going on here. There were so many different stories that I heard. It was his girlfriend hanging out with Tyrese Maxey. It was the fact that he only played one series in the preseason. It was, he didn't have the best camp, or it was Deontay, or it was his relationship with Dave Canales, or whatever that was, right? Clearly the benching helped, right? We'd be remiss not to, admit the fact
Oh,
that
it
the
did.
benching, yeah,
It
it
did.
helped tremendously.
He did it.
Yeah. So my question though is, at what point, like, say he beats the Eagles, because a lot of what you said right now is a lot of what a lot of people who are trying to warm up to the fact of liking Bryce are struggling with. They're still struggling with those first two games, and it's hard to unsee that. But let's just say he comes out and unseats the Eagles, right? And we may not win the game. It might be another Kansas City situation, but he go crazy. Would that be enough against that defense? Because that would make the third defense in a row where he showed up, big time against. Would that finally put to bed the first two games you saw, and you'd be able to overlook that from this point?
If he puts up the same numbers, effort, and he scores in that red zone like he did this, I mean, do it two more times, I'm not gonna have much to say, bro.
Mm.
That'll be amazing if he do against the number 3 defense in the league. Now I'll be shocked. I'll be very, very shocked.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not betting against him. I just need to see it. I'm just not.
You need to see, yeah.
I'm not about. I just need to see it. That's where kind of where the line draws with me and some of my compadres. We just need to see more of it keep going.
Mm-hmm.
We have said that, oh man, this man is doing better. Okay, keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not about to see it. Like, oh, this our franchise. I've heard people say King Bryce. He's just. It's like, whoa, relax. because there's only one king that's sitting on the throne, and that's Patrick Mahomes. We're trying to see
Yeah.
if this guy really has it. Is he gonna keep this up? I love the celebration dance. I'm about to start doing it.
Mhm.
If he starts continue to keep trending upwards, that's all I need to see, and I'll back up off on him. Actually, I've tried to be a little more cool, but like I said, it's like I told this guy. We're talking to the guy from the UK today,
Mhm.
and trying to explain to him when you're the leader of a team in the NFL, it's different from soccer. Because soccer, right? Everybody's gonna take the blame, even if you're the best player. But in the NFL over here, you take the love when you win, and y'all gonna take the hate when you lose.
Yes.
So that's the difference. We put you on a pedestal. So far, the last 3 games, I have to take my hat off to him and say, "Hey, man, you're playing better."
Mhm.
But I'm just not. I'm just not going. I want to feel. I want to be confident. You hear when I'm struggling right now.
I hear you,
I
man.
want to
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
confident.
Oh yeah.
Hey, look, the Eagles is the hardest game. It's
Yeah.
the hardest game of the year.
Right.
If Bryce come out here and give me another 298 yards, 0 turnovers, and if he can score 2 more times in that red zone, I won't talk no more jump, bro. I'll be quiet.
That's a win. That's a win. Hey, look, I'm gonna hold you to that, man. Not only am I gonna hold you to it, but I'm gonna make a promise, man. I'm pulling up. It's been a minute since I came over and chill with y'all, man. I love y'all vibe. I love Q going crazy. You know what I'm saying? I like Goat in his conversations from the truck. Man, I mess with y'all, man, heavy. You know what I'm saying? So look, regardless of the outcome, whenever if y'all go live on like that Monday or something like that, I'm pulling up, man. I'm coming through. Y'all drop the link, I'm coming through.
But John, you loved over there, man. You know it,
Appreciate
and you're one of the few guys that we will stop the show when you pull up because you got real perspectives. We respect you,
I
and
appreciate that, man.
we
Likewise.
don't. And not only that, you know the game. You're just not talking out the side of your neck, and we love your passion. So that being said, I mean, we know when you come over there, it's fires lit and all type of craziness going on. So everybody ain't gonna be calm and cool, collective like
Of
me, but
course. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
man, if he do this in Philly, John, man, I'm gonna lose. This last game hurt me. I ain't gonna lie, it hurt. I hate to admit it right here on the One Carolina, but that hurt because we should have won the game.
Oh Lord. All right. So look, Pop, I can only do one guess at a time. But I got Twan Don trying to show up right now. I don't have it set up where I can do multiple guests. But
Oh no problems, no problem. I'll take it to the back and keep listening, man. Great show. Thank you for having me on here.
hey, appreciate you,
Carolina,
man.
blessings to you and your family, your health, your kids, your family, your wife, and those out here in the chat. One love to y'all all, and man, thank you for having me on, brother.
Absolutely. Man, I appreciate you, man. Salute to Pop. Salute to the Black Cat Panther podcast, man. We appreciate y'all. Go subscribe to those guys. Those are some of my favorite people on YouTube, period. Not just the Panther platform, but YouTube, period, man. I will see y'all soon. Tell Q to save me a spot. Tell Q I'm coming to yell at him. I want him to yell at me. I can't wait. See you, my man. Yo, you here?
Yo, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you, brother.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's happening?
How you feeling? Pop, what's good, man?
Pop gone, man. It's just me and you.
Oh, One Carolina, what's good, baby?
Yeah, it was good, Twan Don.
Hey, look, man, I heard you. I heard you in something. You said,
Oh, here we go.
uh, oh, yeah, you was live. You said, Twan, you going to have to pull up, bro. We got to talk about that Bryce
I
situation.
said, yeah. Gotta pull up on me. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. The boy looked good over the last 2 games, man.
He did, man. He did.
The boy looked good. I was an advocate. I still got my worries about Bryce Young, man. I was an advocate of him sitting, though,
Mm-hmm.
his first year. Thought it would have did him a lot of good.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wouldn't have faced all this, a lot of the negativity that he dealt with in his first year. I felt like he got thrown out there on a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
I always made that statement.
I'm glad you clarifying that.
I didn't think it was fair for him to be out there with that team last year.
Mm-hmm.
But they threw him out there. But he's their quarterback. He's gonna get all the praise when he does something right. That and just like any other quarterback on any other team, he's gonna get it if he don't do it right.
That's right. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a fair
So I
point.
thought, look, the question is, Bryce Young didn't have to play that first season. It wouldn't have mattered. All he called from that season was hell. I thought this year, if he would have came in this year, he would have caught a little hell in the beginning. But now the growing, but what we seeing now would have coasted into this more naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, where you go, Twan? Come back, man. I don't know what happened to you, but you dropped out. Just hit the link again. Come back. I was enjoying that conversation. We'll keep it going. Yo.
I'm with you. Okay, I got you.
Yep, go ahead.
I don't know how we got disconnected. But listen, man, the really positive thing I'm gonna say about him is this: when you put in the pressure, people that are not very good, they fold, and some people step up.
Yeah.
And what I see him doing with a young team is he stepped up. Him sitting out did some good.
Mm-hmm.
And they put they put the fire under his ass, and he looked. I guess somewhere in his head, he's like, I don't want to go out like that.
Yeah, I agree.
So, hey, look, man, that's what. So I got to give it to him. You know what I'm saying? I ain't bought in like the Bryce lovers. You know what I'm saying? But I got to give credit where credit is due. The dude looked good over the last 2 games, bro.
Twan, what does a Bryce lover look like? What is the language, the lingo of the Bryce?
Okay, so I'll tell you what the Bryce lovers are.
Mm-hmm.
Not a Bryce fan, the Bryce lovers.
Mm-hmm.
A Bryce lover can't see any faults in him. A Bryce lover, he blames everybody else for what Bryce doesn't do right. A Bryce lover, you know what I'm saying, is just like, it's everybody else's fault. It's not Bryce's fault. A Bryce lover, it's just like the pop culture of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? He came out, he's famous, boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
We love him. The Bryce lover is these dudes out here calling him daddy and king and all this other stuff that he ain't even got yet. The Bryce fan loves what Bryce can be and what he can become. And you know what I'm saying? It's just like, look, man, y'all, look, he'll wait and see. He gonna show y'all. You know what I'm saying? Or, the one that's going like, Bryce has to be better, but I love this dude, and I think we should stick with him, and he going to be blah, blah, blah in the future. That's a Bryce fan. You know what I'm saying? The lovers go overboard.
That's peace.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to be honest with you. The Bryce lover, if Bryce was to get traded to another team, they're going to go there. A Bryce fan is not leaving his team. He's not going to leave the Panthers.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You're right.
Twan, you watching the screen?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, you want to?
that should have been a catch. I just wanted to run something for the background. While we having this conversation, just for context.
Yeah, Leggett.
Just for context.
Leggett got to do better. I'm gonna tell you. Look, in that last game, Bryce should have had 350 yards, bro.
Easy.
Yeah, they didn't. They dropped the ball on him. But the same way I say some people drop balls on him, he overthrew some guys. So
he would have. I saw somewhere where somebody said he's got 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 858 yards in the last 5 weeks.
That's incredible. That's nice.
It is. What's crazy is that you could subtract if the stats were counted differently, which they don't do this obviously, and for good reason they shouldn't. I had an argument with a guy about this today. You shouldn't give interception stats to a wide receiver, even if it's their fault. But the one interception was the ball that was stripped away from Leggett against the Saints, right? So
okay.
And we've had multiple dropped potential touchdowns multiple drop passes. So yeah, I agree with you. He would have went off, against Tampa, and we win that game if some of those catches are made.
Yeah, yeah. See, I'm one of these people. Like, you, if you mess up as a team, all of y'all did it. If you win, then you win as a team. That was another thing with the Bryce lovers and the Bryce fans. Kim said the Bryce lovers, when the Panthers win, it's Bryce won. It wasn't everybody else. It was just him. You feel me? Like, what? Nobody else had anything to do with that? Okay.
Right.
G baby to be example. That's a Bryce lover.
Hey, that's my guy. That's my guy.
I love G baby. I love G. He was just on my show, man.
Oh, I know you.
But
do.
it ain't going. It'll be hard for him, bro. He wouldn't take it well. He had to go into a psychiatric clinic if Bryce Young got treated.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? That's not good.
Hey, Twan, how you been doing?
He would really. I've been good, man. How you been?
I've been good. Yeah, I've been good, man.
I've been blessed, bro. I've been blessed. I ain't complaining.
How's things going over at the channel?
Oh, it's good, man. You know what I'm saying? Just doing our thing, man. Just who we are. You know what I'm saying? Not changing. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I believe in authenticity. I mean, in authentication.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And just, we just gonna be our authentic selves. Celebrated 704's birthday on November 26th, man. Marked the day. Yeah, man. So that, he's still with us in spirit.
Yeah.
One of the things that a lot of people figured out, and you probably don't know, is that Ray is no longer with us.
Oh no, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Something. See, like, I don't try to go into it, so people will be all in his business, but
yeah, of course.
All I'll say is Ray's been dealing with some things in his life,
mm-hmm.
and I told him if he ever had to step away or whatever, no questions asked, and I think that's what happened. It was no beef, he just stopped contact with everyone, bro.
Mm.
So when people ask me what's going on with Ray, and I have no answer for it.
Mm.
I don't, man. All I do, I pray for him and I wish him the best, and that he comes out on the positive side of whatever is going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, his heart just wasn't into it no more.
Well, same here, man. We'll offer up, prayers for Ray and his family, and
yeah,
I hope that,
yeah, absolutely.
Hope that it's just one of those things where you just kind of. I mean, I've been there, man. Like between dealing with health stuff and just sometimes you just gotta take a break. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, podcasting is not our life.
Yeah, no, not at all. But I will say this though, I'm back full throttle. I'm back full throttle.
Okay.
And like I said, while I may not be driving the bus, the Bryce train bus, I'm in the jump seat. I'm in the jump seat. And I told you, right. I told you at the beginning of the year, me and you was on the what was it? The Friday free for all. And I told you, I said, Twan, if this boy come out and show himself and prove himself, I'm gonna be insufferable on this app. Right?
Yeah, you said it. You said that.
I'm gonna show you this too. I'm gonna show you this too though, because I'm a real one, Twan. So I'm also gonna show you this, because when that didn't happen, I had to run those receipts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to remember, like, hey, when me and Twan was arguing about anticipation, like, that was a real argument. It got a little hot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, I gotta come out and I gotta give like props where props are due. So I'm trying to find this right now, because I dropped my man Twan's name, and I levied the apology.
No, you didn't. No, you did not.
Listen, Twan, I'm a man of
Sunshine
my word.
We can see it starting to make its way
Oh.
down to the beautiful Carolinas amid the putrid situation that we've seen from the Carolina Panthers as of late. And as I detail in my video, is Bryce Young an all-time bust? Now, first of all, I want to start by saying this. There's a few people that I have to make some amends to, if you will. A few of my contemporaries, guys like Twan Don, guys like Cody from C3, and many.
I told you, I'm a real one, Twan.
Wow. That was real.
If it come out bad, I'm a live in it. But I also told you, Twan, that if the boys start balling, I was gonna be insufferable on this app, bro. And I mean that. I mean that.
Hey, look, man. You know, real recognize real because, you know, only an idiot would be like, look, man, Bryce is still Bryce. I don't trust him. You know what I'm saying? It took everything in me, you know, to come out. The truth is the truth. The boy has been balling lately.
Yeah.
And if he keeps this up, man, you know what I'm saying? Don't be insufferable yet. You know what I'm saying? Look, the season ain't over.
Yeah.
You know, but listen, I got to admit something.
Okay.
And people, you just got to read between the lines when I say this. Now, when he comes out on the field, like, I'm really, really, really hoping he shows out. And people like, was you not hoping that he would show out before or that he would do bad? No. I just felt like I made up in my mind that that's just what he was going to give me. But now, when he gets out there on that field, bro, like, it's the anticipation of him doing well is full-fledged in me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But look, man, I'm going to tell you something about Bryce Young that he did that I stated last year, that he is finally doing it, and I feel like it's helping his game 60%. He's using his legs.
Yeah.
He's using his legs. Mm-hmm. Don't stay in that pocket. Times I say, don't stay in the damn pocket and let that pocket close on you. Yeah. When look, man, you fast, bro. Take off.
Yeah.
When he ran that touchdown, you can ask my wife. When he ran that touchdown Sunday and he ran it in, I turned to my wife and I said, told you. I told you if he used his legs, man.
Yeah.
So now, guess what, John? Defenses have to game plan for that.
That's a fact.
So that means you can't let defenses just sit back and just load him up in a box. Like, if he gonna run like that, they got to account for that. So that means that y'all can't double all these people y'all want to double.
I will say this, though. I salute to Cody. I heard Cody say something on one of their shows recently where he said that they should start calling design runs for him. I'm like, nah.
Yes.
No, Twan.
No.
Bro,
No.
He's still 5'10", bro.
She said, my bad, bro.
Huh?
Yeah, no design runs.
Yeah, no.
Hold on. My fault. Yeah.
You go ahead.
I misspoke. No design runs.
No.
Just if it's open, take what the defense gives you.
Yes. Yes.
Nah.
Not trying to get this man
He'll get killed with a design run.
100%.
Yeah.
He will 100% get killed. Yes, it is not. No, we're not doing that. Yeah. So, but Twan, man, look, I'm probably gonna jump off here soon, man. But I want to link up with you again soon, man. We gotta do a cross.
It's all good,
man. I'm trying to come through the 704, man. What's up? What an invite, dog.
Hey, look, man, bro, we never took it from you.
Salute.
You got the lifetime golden pass.
Hey, salute to my man Twan, man. That's what I'm talking about. Lifetime.
Yeah, man.
All right, but look, no,
hey,
man, I want to link with you again, and I want to get you over here. You know what I'm saying? So we can.
Oh, absolutely.
Still got a link, but.
Yeah, man. Look, let me just say something again.
Sure.
Carolina Panthers podcast, man, it's better. It's way better. The podcast world is way better when John and when Carolina's out here, when Pat Coltrane is out here. Y'all got to stop taking these breaks.
I'm done.
Y'all are what the people need, man. You know what I'm saying? They need to hear all different types of people, man. They need to hear intelligence. They need to hear laughter and jokes. And sometimes I don't say hate, but sometimes, just the cold hard facts, bro. But you know what I'm saying? Don't be insufferable. Just, wait till the season's over.
When the season's over,
I don't want it to backshadow you.
Yeah.
I don't want it to backshadow you, bro.
Yeah. I'm definitely when the season's over, I'm having you back, bro. Like, but I mean, even if it, obviously we can link before then, but when the season's over, we definitely got to like sit down and like more formally go through some things. I'm gonna ask you some questions, all that kind of stuff about how.
Anytime, bro.
Yeah, we definitely got to.
Anytime.
Twan, always
anytime,
you, man. Salute to you.
Love you, man.
Love you too, bro. 704 Charlotte Show. Plug your show real quick, man. Tell us where we can find you.
Man, CEO, nah, I'm just playing with that. Now, I'm just the founder of the 704 Charlotte Bound Show, man. We just a straight up show. And we talk about these Panthers. We tell the truth about them. We tell, you know what I'm saying? When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. We just give you the cold hard facts. We don't try to make friends with a whole lot of people, like catering to whatever. But, you know what I'm saying? But look, man, it's just, we do what we do. You know what I'm saying? And we love the Carolina Panthers, win, lose, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But we just to show like, man, look, we love the Panthers so much, and we just tired of losing.
That's a fact.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So just like everybody else, and you can catch me at the 704 Charlotte Bound Show. I got my man Edge over there. Claire. Claire, look, man, Claire is a superstar, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, bro? Like a female that can just talk this football like that. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to no females out there, but she one of the best. Like dudes can't deal with her. You know, they hate it when she's talking because if she show them up, they feel like it don't look good on their resume.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we got my man Nick Gaskins is over there. You know what I'm saying? And Nick is I love Nick. He's a contrarian though. He's a dude that's gonna stick with his points and just. He not gonna come off of it. Like, yeah, man. You know, I love Nick, man. Nick is Nick. Popping Bullets call him Black Ass Nick because of the way he act, but yeah, man.
That's what's up.
But I love him to death, man. So we got 4 different personalities at 704 Charlotte Bound Show. So that's what works for us.
That's what's up, bro. Well, yeah, man, like I said, man, I appreciate you. Love you, dog. Look, we're going to link up soon, man. Keep going.
Absolutely.
More importantly, keep pounding. I'll see you soon, dog.
Shout out to One Carolina, man. I'm out.
Salute to you, man. Peace. Man, salute. Good show. And I see a few people jumping into the chat still, man. Shout out to Dom. I appreciate you coming through, man. Will Robinson said, I'm glad people are starting to talk with sense, but some of these cats were reckless with their mouth. I couldn't agree more, which is why I said, look, I am, and not, this isn't a, referendum on Twan, Pop, or anything like that, because, even if those guys said things that they had to say, like, it would never come out of my mouth that I'm going, like, in on them, because we have conversations, right? And I would never, like, I never get reckless with my talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, on either side, right? I've got strong opinions. Like, I had some strong opinions about, and I didn't, man, I had this whole video planned, right? And my boy Keeb, I'm sure if he's watching right now, he'll probably, he'd be like, yo, you a chump, bro. But like, I had this whole video like recorded where I was going to talk about the situation with Cam Newton and not being able to go to Germany. And something happened with my files in my, Final Cut or whatever. And it was like, you know what? I think I had to clear out my render files or something like that. And when I done it, like it, took a lot of my, clips away, and I couldn't export the video, and it was like 30 minutes long. So I was going to do it as a premiere. And I was like, man, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Right. But, we may circle back to that in the off season, because I had some pretty strong opinions about that. Right. But they weren't reckless. They were just, kind of reacting to some of the things that he said. But like I said, Will, hey, look, I ain't driving the Bryce train, but I'm sitting in the jump seat, because when he keep doing what he doing, like if he beat Philly, oh my gosh, I'm gonna act out on here, boy. I promise you, I'm acting out. And then next week, I have my man Jason from the Angry Cowboys Fan Show, good long lifetime friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? We'll be doing a couple of collaboration videos ahead of the Cowboys game. I always love Cowboys Week. Cowboys Week is fun, man. You get a lot of interesting people that show up in the chats, a lot of trash talking back and forth. I mean, it's not even real rivalry between us, but, it's fun. We live in an area where, because we didn't have football for so long, you've got pretty much 3 sects of fans here, right? Which is why we see our stadium flooded with, fans from other teams. And I mean, when you got, a rolling show, like the Kansas City Chiefs, you're always going to see, it don't matter. I mean, there was time when Cam Newton became a rock star in 2015, the Tennessee game where we were playing against them and he had to hold back and forth with the linebacker in the end zone. Man, it was mad people in the stadium with Cam Newton jerseys on. So anytime you have like high level play and superstar ability, it's going to draw attention from players and from places and have people show up. I mean, Jordan would go play places and like people would be, he'd be in the playoffs and people would be cheering when he, shoots the ball or whatever. And it would drive people crazy. Right. But like I was saying, it's, one of those things where you're always going to have a sea of different kinds of fans, right? So like in Charlotte, or really in North Carolina, period, most of the fans that I met were either Dallas, Pittsburgh, Washington, right? Those were the three like big popular groups of fans, in this area. And I mean, you had some people that like Atlanta and stuff like that or whatever, because we didn't have a team for so long and they kind of got grandfathered in. Like, and so, yeah, my boy Jason was one of those people. Jason grew up where I grew up. We all grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, right? And, yeah, he became a Cowboys fan. And, we separated in high school for a while, but we kept in touch, to some degree. And then we reconnected, many years later, man. And he's just been a really, really close friend, a really dear friend to me. And so I had the pleasure of being in his wedding, and he is absolutely killing it. He's a rock star. With this content, already almost at 10,000 subscribers, only been doing it for like, I think maybe 6 to 8 months or whatever. So y'all will see, he's got a voice made for radio, voice made for TV, and it works perfectly on the YouTube platform. So I look forward to being able to link with him and us be able to have, some really meaningful conversations. And, we're going to talk some ish too. You know what I'm saying? We boys. So like, it's probably going to get colorful. It's going to get crazy. So I look forward to it, man. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate Pop. I appreciate Dom 34, Okadoker, Q6, so many people in the chat. Miss Rand, appreciate your contribution. Jamie Harris, man, I had a good time tonight. Had a really, really good time with you guys. And we'll do this again soon. There'll be more as the show continues to progress. There'll be more things that I do. If you guys listen to the intro, you may have heard a song that I recorded called Did I Lose It? From a perspective of what we see going on inside the organization over the last, let's say, 10 years or so. And so I'm actually going to put out an official video for that song coming up here in the next probably month or so, and we'll drop the audio for that song. I'm probably going to drop the audio for that song officially next week because I'm going to start introducing music onto the channel. I have a music background and, I always love to do it. So it'll be something that you guys will see as well. But, yeah, we'll have, different shows, different guests. We got a couple of people we linking up with coming up really soon, some other content creators that you guys know and love. So I'm excited to be back and to be doing this full throttle because I missed it. I missed it a lot. And I missed you guys a lot. So this is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun moving forward. So I appreciate y'all, man. This has been John Farmer from the One Carolina Show. Appreciate y'all on this live Wednesday night. Go get some rest, pray, wake up in the morning, and let's do it all over again, man, y'all. Keep pounding.